Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It's episode number 240 on November the 7th, 2023. So let's jump right into what I've been working on because many of you have been asking about how the kitties have been going. And so this is the 4S Club Collab pattern that you chose for me to do. And it's coming along. There have been problems with this, but then again, when isn't there a problem in a pattern for me? The basic pattern here for this looks very simple. It's made up of basically half square triangles. That's all there is to it. So you would think that's pretty easy. And that part of it is. But it is also very easy to get your pieces turned sideways or flipped or whatever, and you don't really realize it until you look at the final block and then think, oh geez, one of my blocks is turned 90 degrees. I need to take it out. And the thing is, with me anyways, it's usually in the dead center of the piece. So there's a lot of ripping, and I've had a lot of ripping with these. But since I had to make about 23 of them, and here's another shot of what I'm talking about here. So let me move the slide. A few more kitties here. The problem being is, well, not the problem. Lost my train of thought. Wow. Okay, I need more coffee. I have found that as I got more and more of them under my belt, that I didn't have that problem. So I'm showing you a progression here of what this looks like. Now, this is a very large quilt. Yes, the dimensions were on it. I don't pay any attention to dimensions. And to be really honest, when somebody gives me dimensions about something, like if they say something is so many square feet or whatever like that, I have no concept of what that is. I'm not good with spatial math or whatever, or geometric math for that matter. Let's just face it, I suck at math. So I want to lay this out because I had to decide where these kitties were all going to go. And since it is called Scrappy Kitties, I made them in different colors. Now, I did make two of each color. Sort of. Somebody's already pointed out to me when I showed this on Stephen Walter Live that there was one of the cats, the tail wasn't exactly like the one that's supposed to be his mate. And that is very true. And what a sharp eye, because it's just one little piece. It's because I ran out of fabric for that color. That's all. So I found, what was close to it. But I also had to make a new design wall or a temporary one because you can see how long this quilt is. So I had to get out my display rack, the one that I hang my quilts from when I take pictures of them. And I put a wool blanket because I didn't have a flannel blanket. I have a thing about flannel, okay? When I was a little kid, my mother used to make us, in the wintertime, wear flannel pajamas, and she used to put flannel sheets on the bed, and I felt like a felt man stuck on a felt board. I couldn't move. So ever since then, I do not have flannel sheets in my house. But anyways, I digress, as I often do. So I got it all laid out here. I played around with the order of the kittens. And now you can see I've got the sashing added to them. So it's now taking some shape. And it's long columns to stitch. And there you go with the sashing going vertically. And then I added a white border. Well, actually, this border was called for in the pattern. But they actually had a wider one, and that was all they had was one border, and I didn't like that. I wanted to add another splash of color, so I narrowed the top and side borders and bottom border for this from their measurements, and then I added this blue. Now, this blue is not in any of the cats because I didn't have any more of that fabric left. It is scrappy after all, but that's okay because I really like this blue. It's got a bit of a pattern to it, but I don't think it takes away from the cats. And so there you see the finished quilt top. Yay. Now, the next stage of this is to, of course, pick out a quilting pattern for it, get it basted on Lucy, and away we go. I do have a pattern in mind, but I have to check to see if I actually own that one or I may need to purchase it, but I know what it is. And, excuse me, frog in my throat, cat in my throat, probably a hairball actually. I will do the final reveal, but you're not going to see this quilt again until we do the live with Stephanie in December when we're working on them. Well, I won't be really working on it because I've got it pretty much finished. And then our final reveal is in January, so that's when all of us are going to take our final product and show it to you. So that's when you'll see it again, then all finished and not before. So this goes bye-bye. And I think I showed this to you before. I've showed it to you at least in certain stages of it. But this is the Bloom and Grow. It's a pattern by Stephanie Stitches. And I have it all completely finished, all quilted up and everything, as you can see. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, but how could a Stephanie Stitches pattern not turn out? Because I've done several of her patterns, love them. All quilt designer or pattern designers need to take a page from Stephanie's book. You can't screw up because by following her instructions, because they are so very clear. This is the back of that quilt. This was a backing I had in my stash, and you can't see the quilting on it very, very well, of course, but you can see it here, and there it is. That's what I did it with. The other quilt, of course, is the one that I made from all the scrap fabric that came from all the shirts Walter has made for me over the last year, year and a half. I put them all together. This is sort of half an original design and half based on another pattern. I believe it was a Moda pattern. And I'm really happy with the way this turned out. It's not a huge quilt. It's a good size throw, I guess, you would say, lap quilt. I don't know, what's the difference between a lap quilt and a throw? I'm never sure. I'll have to look that up. Anyways, I'm really pleased with the way it turned out, and here's the backing on it. Again, I went into my stash. I have a lot of backing fabric, but you know, you never find the one you want, the one that's most appropriate, but I thought this one worked because those colors are in the front of it as well, or some of them are anyways. Here's the quilting up close. Excuse me again. I did it fairly densely, and I did basically, it's a, I don't know, I call it a concentric square, you know, it's just a spiral square. Maybe that's a better term for it. But I think it really looks good on this quilt. And I did double the batting in this one. Now, I'll tell you why. And it's not for any reasons you can think of. Batting on the roll, because I buy my batting on a roll, comes folded over. It's doubled. And so when you lay it out on Lucy, I have to unfold it, I have to cut it and everything like that. And it's just a pain in the butt. But these are the things that one must do. But when I pulled it off the roll and it was still in its doubled form, it was just enough to do this quilt without unfolding it. So I thought, what the heck? Let's just quilt it with double batting. And it puffed up very nicely when I put it in the wash. This has been washed, what you're seeing right now. So I was really pleased with that. And Lucy was a good girl. She had cooperated with me all the way through that. So we did not have to have nasty words. She's been very good to me lately. And here you go. These are all the shirts. There is only one fabric in the quilt that is not from one of the shirts. And that's the one, and you can't really see it in this picture because it blends in. It has butterflies. Actually, in the dead center of the quilt, you can see the butterfly fabric. They were actually scraps from another project, but not from one of the shirts. So all those shirts are in this quilt. So in a sense, I suppose it's what you might call a memory quilt, a memory of my shirts, because the shirts won't last forever, but hopefully the quilt will. And I've got it documented. Okay, here's the last project. So I was a busy boy on the weekend. We did have the men's sew day, more about that in a minute. And during that, I got most of this done. This was from a kit. It's called For Grandma Miller. And I can't remember where I bought it. Something in the back of my head says I may have bought it when we went to Stratford back a few months ago. I may have picked it up there. I may have had it longer than that. I'm not sure. It's got kind of a Christmas vibe to it, but it's not a Christmas table runner. Anyways, I finished it up yesterday. I quilted it yesterday. I did quilt it on Lucy. Many times when I do a table runner, I'll just do sort of free motion on my domestic machine. But I thought this was a good one. I had a piece of backing fabric that was big enough for this in my scrap pile, and I had a big enough piece of batting in my scrap batting pile, so I just threw it all on Lucy. She was ready to go, and yeah, I knocked this one off as far as the quilting was concerned in under an hour. And the pattern I picked, I wasn't really sure how that was going to look on this, but I think it turned out really great. Those little swirls that look like little clouds, you know, over top of the house in the background, whatever. Now, did I have a problem with this kit? Yeah, I did. There's supposed to be 2 different green patterns. There was only one, but I think what happened was when they had cut the piece of fabric out, and I think they put 2 pieces, although they were cut slightly different. No, they were both cut the same size, but I think they got mixed up. And that was important for the trees, because if I had used all the same greens that they called for, the trees I don't think would look as nice. So I just went into my stash, into my scraps, and found enough other greens that would work with this and put those in to the trees that are on here as well. It was a pretty easy pattern to do, and I'm very happy with the result. Okay, so that's what I had to show you this week. And moving on with announcements, things coming up. We have Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, and that's tomorrow, Wednesday, at the time of recording of this, Wednesday, November the... what's today? 8th, November 8th, starting at 9 a.m. I'm going to be leaving it tomorrow a little bit early. I'll maybe back before it ends, because I am scheduled to have my flu shot at my doctor's office at 2:15. So, but no problem. Stephanie will be here. You come for Stephanie anyway, so you won't even notice I'm gone. Okay, so that's tomorrow. And let's see, what else? Yeah, we had a men's sewing day, first one. It was a bit of an experiment. I'd put out the call to any gentlemen that were interested, and I think at the height of it, we had 10 of us. Very different atmosphere from that I'm used to with a pop-up sew day, where the majority of people at the pop-up sew day are ladies. I'm not saying that I enjoyed it more than I enjoy doing a pop-up sew day, because I did not. It was just a different vibe. And I pretty much figured it would be a different vibe. And it doesn't matter how I describe this. I'm going to sound sexist, so I apologize for that right now. But here's the difference that I noted. 1, much more silence. Now, I'm not saying that the ladies chatter a lot, but the ladies chatter a lot, okay? And that's fun. That's fun. I learned a lot from my pop-up sew days. In the men's sewing day, we tend to put our nose to the grindstone and away we go. But there was discussion. There was talking. It came and went, but not anywhere near the discussion that we have with all the ladies. Did we female bash like the ladies complain about their husbands? No, we did not. We did not. I'm not saying that makes us better than you. No, not at all. It's just that one didn't come up. The other thing that didn't come up, which I love, is I didn't have to hear about the grandchildren. Yeah. So that was okay. I mean, you know, it doesn't bother me that people talk about their grandchildren, but I guess because I don't have any grandchildren, you know what I mean. There wasn't really any enabling going on. We always make jokes about that on pop-up sew days and on Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, you know, and I usually get enabled, and I'm not complaining about that. I found some really great stuff on there as well. The group was supportive, but both groups are supportive. There wasn't a lot of show and share, you know, and I guess, I don't know, we just didn't. I think maybe a couple of us showed something really quick because we were asking a question, but there wasn't, somebody saying, I want to show you this, I want to show you that. Which again, that is something I enjoy on the pop-up sew days. I like to see what other people are making as well. So yeah, there is definitely a difference between an all-male sew day and a sew day that is primarily female. That's just what I observed. Are we going to have another one? Yes. So any gentlemen out there that see this, if you're interested, our next men's sew day will be Sunday, December the 3rd. I believe it's December 3rd, yes. The first Sunday of December, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, running until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are interested, you want to be on the mailing list so you will get a notification of this and the Zoom link for it, please just send me an email requesting so. You will find my email address in the About section tab on my main part of my channel. Also, I think I've put a link to that as well in the show notes for this video. So all guys are welcome. Yeah, and we'll see how that one goes. And if we have a reasonable turnout and everybody's happy with it, we will maybe make this a more regular thing on the first Sunday of every month. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so I have acquired something new. You know how I love my AccuQuilt. And somebody just sent me or wrote a comment yesterday in one of my videos saying that they have no more storage space for their AccuQuilt dies and wanted me to maybe make a suggestion how to store them. Well, it really depends on your space, but AccuQuilt does have some storage systems. I am very fortunate that in my sewing room I have a little cutout, bump out, that I have lined with shelves. I used to use it for holding my books and things when this space many, many years ago was my office space for when I was a teacher. But I have replaced those books since I've redone this whole room into my sewing room with AccuQuilt dies. And they're all in boxes for the most part. There's a few that are loose. But that keeps them all very nice. And I'll show you what one of those boxes look in a minute. But they do have these racks as well. And I just happen to have, for my longer dies, my strip dies, I have them. You can see it over there on the right-hand side of the screen. They're kind of leaned up in a little corner space between this cabinet that's there, and there's an edge of a bookshelf there as well. But that space was getting full. And I like to keep my dies handy, and the long ones are difficult to store. So I bought one of these racks, and it's working dandy. It fits very nicely in this little space right here. They're right close to my cutting table, so when I throw up the AccuQuilt on the table, right here I can reach for any one of these dies. And I also mentioned about the fact that there are storage boxes as well. And I have bought these before. As you can see, I've got some labeled. They come in various sizes, depending on the size of the die. But the latest one I bought was for the 10 by 10 dies. And so I bought, as you can see in the far right-hand side of your screen, the 10 by 10 boxes. Those boxes will hold, I believe, 2 dies a piece, so I can get 4 in there. The boxes are not really cheap, but they're very well constructed. They run you around $35, $36 Canadian. But they are very well constructed. And you just pull them out and they all fold out, and there's your die, and you can label it whichever way you want. You can see I've got mine labeled on the outside, and I have them labeled on the inside too, so I know exactly what's in the boxes, where I can find my dies. So that's how I store my AccuQuilt dies, and I hope that helps out the person who asked me about this. Okay, do I have anything more? Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so not this Sunday just passed, but the Sunday before, as you know, because we talked about it on Stephen and Walter Live a week ago, we went to a local guild's quilt show. And it was called Twisted Stitches is the name of the guild. And like all guilds, every so many years they throw a quilt show, which helps them to raise money to sustain the guild over the next couple of years. And there were some beautiful creations there, and there were some vendors as well. So I did take some video of the quilt show for you. So I'm going to put that on here right now. Okay, so we're at the Twisted Sisters Quilt Show. This is a guild that's in a couple of towns over from us. And because it's a guild, they only have this every so many years. And this is the year of it. So we'll take a look around here and see what the beautiful creations. I'll try to get in as many as I can. I may not do any commentary, you'll be happy to know, mainly because there's a lot of people here and I don't want to talk about them. Kimberbell Designs. That one's really neat. Halloween.
Yeah, there was one that was wrong. And the other big thing is when I started building it, it's just moving home. So that's a bit overwhelming. Now we're thinking, Here you go. Somebody just gave me this.
Oh.
So I'll give it to you. She's leaving.
Okay.
And if they announce that number, I can't claim it because I...
Because you're a vendor. So they had lots of people go through? Hello, how are you?
Absolutely. Good. How are you guys?
Good, good.
Shirley. Hello, how are you?
And there are vendors here, and of course our favorite store is here, Ultimate Sewing. I have some of that fabric. It's very quite nice. It's difficult to get the whole quilts in here, I'm afraid. So actually, if I reduce this, maybe you can see better. That might be better. There we go. Now you have a little better view. Penguins. That one's cute.
Another one.
Did she? Is that hers?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So I don't know if you ever remember back some time ago, quite a long time ago, one of the ladies we know that used to work at Ultimate Sewing and is part of this guild, Sharon, she did this one of Elvis Costello, but she did one a few years ago at the last quilt show that was of Elton John, and she actually sent it to Elton John, and he gave her backstage passes when he came to Toronto for his concert. She does beautiful work. Yeah, I know. That's spectacular. These are huge. Oh, I made that one. That's the one in black and white that I did.
And then it dawned on me
Så det säger det är ljusare. But then oh okay. Oh. All right. Take care.
Having mood show up is the answer.
Oh, and you're great. You came through last year, nobody else came except you. Like you both waited for us.
It doesn't
Paper piecing.
and the point shape, the outside line, you know, to
Oh, that's using the Tula pink ugly sweater fabric.
That's a little
Yeah, that one looks good. I hate that fabric, but
actually, the quilt looks so
the quilt looks great with it that way. Some minis.
you want me to sing? Cheryl made me a song.
Now, did I buy some stuff? Well, not a lot. Well, probably $300 worth of stuff. But that was very easy to do. There weren't a lot of vendors there, but there were some that I was not familiar with, and that one is this one right here, right now. It's called My Fabric Dresser, and later on I'm going to do a review of their online fabric store, but she had some very unusual fabrics, and this was one of them that I bought there. I think this will make a great bag. And actually, I'm starting to go through my stash of fabrics and setting aside fabrics that I think will make great in bags. And yeah, that's down the road. I want to get back into making a few more bags. I haven't done that for a while. But anyways, this is one of the fabrics. I really like it. And I believe this one comes from... Is his name Henry Alexander? I think it might be. I actually bought some more from her that I'm going to show you in a moment. But I also bought this, and I teased you with this. This is by a designer called Dan Morris, and until I bought this package, this bundle of fabric, I had never heard of Dan Morris before, and I'm absolutely in love with his fabrics. Now, they're fairly available on different spots online. I got these from Quiltitious, which I did talked all about a week or so ago. Love their selection of fabrics. And they are a great spot. Do check them out. You see that the website for them is there on the ribbon that came on the bundle, quiltitious.ca. Their prices are reasonable. Shipping looks like it's reasonable. And yeah, now I reviewed them a long time ago, and I had never bought anything from them. And I really don't remember what I said in that review, but I'm sure it was positive. And yeah, I love this bundle of fabric. What am I going to do with it, you may ask? I have no idea. I need to look for a pattern. Now, I'm tempted to design my own because up in the top left corner, the first fabric there, that's actually a panel. And I could design the pattern all around, about that panel, and I probably will. But I may look for inspiration from other patterns that deal with a panel as well. But anyways, it's just luscious. This fabric is just luscious. So back to my fabric dresser. I decided to check out her online store, and I saw some more unique patterns that I liked. And so I picked these up. I picked up 2 meters of each of these. The firemen, well, enough said. The old cars and the drive-in girl on roller skates. Now, I said to Walter, it's too bad that we had not known about this online store earlier, because he's making us retro 1960 style shirts for this party we're going to on the weekend, because it's a 60s, 1960s theme. And, you know, the one with the girl in the drive-in and the hot rods, too. Those two would have been just great for the shirts. Mind you, they are directional. And, you know, when you're making a shirt, making ones that are from directional fabric can be a bit tricky. But anyways, love this online store, and I'm going to talk more about it later on in today's episode. Okay, so that's everything that I have bought in fabric lately. And so that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week, and this beautiful creation comes from Jean Lewis. This week's Subscribers Quilt is a table runner, and it's beautiful, and it comes from Jean Lewis. And I bought the same pattern as this in a different colorway when I was on my little trip to the Stratford, Cambridge area. I haven't done it yet, and it does look a little intimidating, but according to Jean, it is not that intimidating. And she says, I'm that lurker from the West Coast. I do enjoy your videos, and I did that spicy spiral table runner that you bought the pattern for recently too. Here's a photo of my Christmas version attached. There are multiple postings on the web for this, which help me avoid some disastrous color combinations. So according to Jean, she gave me some other tips as well that I'm not going to read out to you about rulers and about sewing triangles and things like that together. But according to her, this is not that difficult, and it looks really cool, I think. Something a little different. So, Jean, you have done a wonderful job of this, and I'm not sure, I can't tell what your quilting is. It looks like you may have done straight line quilting on here as well, but it is a gorgeous piece, and as a Christmas table runner, it's wonderful. I'm not doing it as a Christmas table runner. I'm just doing it, well, with the fabrics that came in the kit, which I said already were in sort of a color, the blue colorway. But nevertheless, thank you for sharing this with me. You've inspired me to get on with this particular project. Now, the YouTube of the week is a clip for a new product. You've probably have already seen this, but if you haven't, you can go to this site to find out all about the Glow Ruler. This week's YouTube clip comes from Carolina Moore, who is a creator of many different quilting projects that are wonderful, and she has just come out with a new one, and this particular video, which is entitled Glow Ruler Launch, demonstrates the uniqueness of this particular ruler. this one lights up. It lights up so you can see the lines and the numbers on the ruler very clearly, and you can also position it very easily on a piece of fabric, especially if you're going to do fussy cutting. She takes you through this whole innovative product in this video, and it is exciting. She did premiere it at the recent quilt market, and people, well, she was showing people's reactions to it, and they were astounded by it. And I have to say, I am very interested in this as well. Now, right now, it only comes in one size, but I think she has plans to expand it to larger rulers later on if this catches on. The only thing I'll say against this is the price. The price point is very, very high. I think it's about $80 American. So for Canadians, it's an astronomical amount of money. Maybe over time the price will come down as it catches on, if it catches on. But in the meantime, you may want to check this out to see if this is something you might want to purchase. That's the Glow ruler, and it's being premiered on Glow Ruler Launch on Carolina Moore's YouTube channel. And you might be wondering if I'm going to purchase one of those very soon. No. Well, no, it's not that I don't think it's a great idea, because I do. It's just the price is astronomical. Okay, especially it has to come from the States. I think it's about $80 American. So with shipping, with the exchange rate, it's well over $100 for a ruler that size. Yeah, it glows. Great concept, great idea. I think I'll hold off until she comes out with other sizes, and maybe I'll make the plunge then. We'll see with it. But right now, it's not on my radar to get one of those. But that doesn't mean it's not a great product. It looks pretty good. Okay, so future projects. Well, you remember when I went to Halifax to the Canadian National Quilt Show, there was a booth there selling African fabrics, and they were a Canadian company called Mercat. This is a hard one to say. Mercat Shawashwi. Okay, I probably said that wrong, but that's the name of them. And I bought a kit for table runner, and I bought a kit for a quilt with these African fabrics. Now, I did have some problems with the kit for the table runner, although the African fabrics are very, very lovely. So I have not yet gone, in case I have the same problem. I will read the pattern very, very carefully before I start this project. But this is one that's called Tides That Bind. This week's future project is called Tides That Bind. It is a quilt pattern, and it comes from a company that is based in Canada, in my province, called Mercat Shawashwi, which features African fabrics. Now, I picked this pattern up as a kit at the Canadian Quilt Show in Halifax in May. And I talked all about this particular company then, and I did run into some problems with one of their other patterns that I have done previously. So this one's been sitting on the back burner just in case I should run into problems with it as well. I definitely will be reading through these pattern instructions very, very carefully in order to avoid any kind of problems. However, it is a really cool pattern, and that's what attracted me to the kit. Plus, the kit has African fabrics in it, and they are spectacular looking. They're in shades of blue. So, yeah, I'm just a little hesitant about this one. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we shall see. And when I get it all done, whenever that will be, I will definitely be showing it to you. So, what about Idiot Quilter Presents an Interview section? I have not had one in a few weeks at all, as you know, but I do have one scheduled. I'm doing the interview on Friday, and I'll tell you who it's with, because you probably know of these people already, and that is Fallon and Matthew from So Be It Quilts. I am sure most of you are very familiar with Fallon. But I am interviewing her on Friday morning, so that interview will be available probably next Tuesday. So I'm really excited about interviewing Felon and Matthew, especially talking about their business as well, because they have some very unique products that they sell. So that's coming up. Now, I have other feelers out for other people that you have recommended to me, and thank you for your recommendations, and I'm always willing to hear about more that you might think. I have not had replies from those ones. One that I have sent several emails to, and I just got a reply when I got up this morning, checked my email, I had a reply from this person. I am not going to tell you who this person is, just to say that this person is unable to do an interview with me and gave me a very interesting reason for why that is. And basically it boils down to that they have to be very, very careful what they put up on YouTube or what they say on YouTube, because their employer has very strict rules about what they do outside of business time, I guess. I'll just quote from the email. It says, the issue for me is that my employer closely monitors all of my activities concerning their YouTube channel. I'm not going to mention it. And I have been warned about the associations I make and discussions I get involved in on YouTube. So, yeah. That's sad. This person, I'm not sure where this person is located. I thought they might be Canadian, but maybe not. They may be, I think now that I think about it, I think this person is American. Because in Canada, that would be considered a violation of our human rights code. But I know in the States that their employers tend to be able to get away with more with their employees. And I think that's really sad. I think this person would have made a great interview. This person has been requested by you to be interviewed by me. But I understand. I don't agree with it. Not that I disagree with the person themselves. I disagree with the company they're working with, but that's coming from my Canadian perspective, where that kind of thing is a no-no here in Canada by law. So I feel sorry for that this person has to work in an environment where his personal time and his personal views and things like that are censored by his employer, by their employer. So anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up because I have never had that kind of thing given to me as a reason for not being able to do an interview. So, yeah, kind of sad. Okay, moving on. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to review the online store for My Fabric Dresser, Canadian company, online. So, check this out. This week's online fabric store is called My Fabric Dresser, and this particular site has a lot of unusual fabrics, as you're about to see. But I also was able to meet the owner of this online fabric store at a recent quilt show that I was at, which you've already seen the video from. And I was really interested in what she had to offer because her fabrics are a little different than what you find in the usual online or even brick and mortar store. As you can see here, a sampling of what she has. She does a lot of pre-ordering for things as well. She does have an advent calendar box. This is all her front page, and this is her announcement, which is now passed, of the Twisted Stitchers Quilt Guild. I think in my video I called them the Twisted Sisters. Sorry about that. It is the Twisted Stitchers. I was thinking of the old group from the 80s or the 90s. She's a very nice person. I met her in person, and here's one of the fabrics that I bought. She doesn't have a lot of fabric, but what she has is very unusual. So let's just take a look at her products, shall we? I already mentioned she has an advent calendar. I am tempted to order it, but I think I'm holding back. I've got 2 already on order that I'm going to get this year, and I think that might be enough. So she has different things. She has cotton fabric. She has other ones that she calls other base yardage, which is canvas, cotton, linen, flannel, plaid prints, waterproof canvas. She has vinyl. She has cotton bundles, interfacing, full bolts of interfacing, hardware, notions, zipper tape pulls, digital patterns and gift certificates and clearance items. So let's just take a look, first of all, at her fabric. Now, she doesn't have a lot, as I said. She carries Alexander Henry, something called Devon Stone, which at the moment that part of her website isn't populated, Japanese bronze printed yardage, Michael Miller fabrics, and other things as well. So you can see she has something a little unusual. Now, what attracted me were the Alexander Henry fabrics. These are just out there. I bought some of this, as you already know, because I've shown it to you. And I decided to buy a few other things. I bought, not this one. I don't see the other one that I did buy. Let's just go to another page, the second page. It may be, oh yes, I bought the Fireman. Of course I bought the Fireman. And I bought the cars as well. Now, I haven't received those fabrics yet, and when they do come in, I'll show them to you in a little better way. But her prices are not bad. These prices are quoted in Canadian at half a meter. So half a meter, half a yard. I think it might be, let's just click on one. She does explain it down here. It's yards. So her prices are in half yard increments. So that puts her price at about $18.50, roughly. $18.84. So $19 a meter, which isn't bad, especially these are very specialized fabrics. What else she has that really attracted me here is if we look down at their zipper tape and pulls. She sells a zipper by the meter, but she's got some wonderful colors. And I did buy some of her zippers tape when I saw her at the show. I also bought some of her zipper pulls, and let's just take a look at them because she had a really nice selection of pulls and hardware. So you can see she has all of these pulls, different shapes, and she has them in the rainbow. I bought some of the rainbow colors, and I bought a few other things as well in bag making hardware because I really have to get into doing some more bags. Again, I haven't done any in a long time, but just something a little different that I haven't seen before, and price-wise, very, very reasonable in my opinion. What else is in her product line is she does have lots of different types of interfacing, and she sells it by the bolt, which is good. And again, prices seem pretty good for all of that. And it's not easy to buy bolts of interfacing online, I have found. Notions? Well, she has pretty much the standard notions, although she does have piping. She sells a lot of friction pens. Macrame cord, too. I mean, that might be something, I don't know how easy it is to get macrame cord anymore. Do people still do macrame? Maybe it's coming back. She doesn't have a lot in the notions, but she does have a few things. She does have digital patterns. They're mostly for bags, that kind of thing. And she has gift certificates as well. So it is not a huge store online, and I'm sure there's room for growth, and she probably will be doing that. Now, shipping was very reasonable. And she tells you here, do you have a storefront? No, they don't. They're strictly an online retailer. She says that most of our fabric is purchased by the yard, so it's easier for us to sell the same way it came. And most patterns, of course, do come measured in linear as well. She says to allow 1 to 3 business days for order to ship. And she does buy Canada Post. And for what I ordered, I think it came to about $15 for shipping, which I didn't think was out of the way. Um, I'm not sure if she ships to the States. She probably does. I'm just looking here very quickly to see if she mentions that. She does not mention. Um, it is shipped out by Canada Post. So she probably does ship to the States as well. You'd probably have to talk to her about what that's going to cost. She has her contact information here as well. So I like this particular website simply because of the different types of fabrics that are being offered here that I haven't seen in other spots. Now, I'm sure you can get some of this in other places, but it's a nice selection that is here. Somewhat limited, but a nice selection. Price is good, shipping is fair, so you may want to check out My Fabric Dresser. So that takes me to what's coming up. Well, on Saturday night, we have been invited to a birthday party. I've mentioned this before. It's a 60th birthday party for a friend of ours. She's going to have a big to-do. She's got a rented hall. She's got a DJ. She has a bar. She has food. It's just going to be a blast. And the theme is the 1960s, so that's why Walter has been working on our retro style, 1960s style shirts for the event. He just put the finishing touches on the shirts on yesterday, and they look great. And we'll be showing you the finished product. You saw them almost finished on Stephen and Walter Live. Probably this week on So Chatty, we'll probably be showing those shirts to you again. They look fantastic. But then again, when Walter makes a shirt, when doesn't it look fantastic? They always look fantastic. They're great. And I love wearing them. I just wish I wish a long sleeve shirt wasn't quite as involved to sew. He can do them. But they're more time consuming because I could use some new long sleeve shirts because, well, what you see I'm wearing now are not Walter's creations. They're from Mark's Work Warehouse. Yep. And yes, all of them are a plaid or a stripe because that's all you can buy at Mark's Work Warehouse. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We have not been out to a party, invited to a party in, oh God, a donkey's age. I don't know. Is it just me? Maybe people just don't want me around. Or does it come to a point where you get to a certain age and you just don't get invited to things? I don't know. Maybe that's the way it is. I mean, yeah, used to have some friends that we used to get together on a every 6 months or something, had what we called a gang dinner, and it was always a lot of fun. They were people I used to teach with. They're all in the education system and things like that. Well, they're not all younger than me. Well, yeah, they are. I'm the old man in the crowd, but not that much younger than me, and that just kind of died. So there you are. And the thing is, I was thinking on the next time we got together, I would have a quilt for each of them. No, you don't invite me to dinner, you don't get a quilt. Simple as that. No, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's an age thing. Or they just don't like me. So maybe that's it. Okay, so I just got up on a table once and took off my clothes and danced across the salad. Did it hurt anybody? Well, no. Anyways, I digress and I'm being stupid now. So, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. So Chatty, this coming Friday, you'll see Walter's beautiful creations, his shirts. We have a few other things we're going to discuss. Plus, the main focus of that one's going to be about searching. How do you do a search when you're looking for a quilting tool or fabric or something like that? How do you find those kind of things? Well, we're going to give you some Google tips and tricks and a couple of other apps that will help you out with that. We're going to talk all about that then. And then, of course, we're going to have Stephen and Walter live on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, am I going to have another pop-up sew day? It is November. We haven't had one yet. Thinking about it. And I'm thinking maybe, not this weekend because I'm busy with that party, but possibly the Saturday after. Maybe. No guarantees, but believe me, you'll be the first to know. Okay, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.